Has anybody seen Austin Powers?
Yep.
No.
Okay.
I've seen parts of it.
Big Austin Powers household.
I've seen Mommy Who Shall Not Be Named scenes in Austin Powers.
Groovy, baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
But I have not seen that particular feature film.
Sometimes I forget that Mommy Who Shall Not Be Named has had a very long and illustrious acting career.
When's that NDA up, buddy?
Another 9 years.
When's that NDA up, buddy?
10 years. I mean, I can talk about who I worked for, but we also did talk about their large mammoth poop, so I don't know if I want that recorded on podcast.
You decided to put that on the internet forever. That's on you, pal.
And it was funny. People liked it.
Megan Thee Stallion.
Back it up. Yep, right there. Right there. Come on up. Yep. Oh, no, too far. All right. All right. So check that off. Oh, sorry. Didn't see you guys there. This is the podcast. A little bit under construction right now. Apologies. I'm your foreman, O'Neil Henry.
I'm your on-break cat-calling construction worker, Tyler J. Carcara.
I'm Olivia Fumiati, and I'm forklift certified.
Yeah, please excuse our mess. We are going under a little bit of show construction. As you can tell, our website still is not finished. It's been under construction for 6 months. We're still working on that. Apologies. But now the show's going under a little bit of construction. So, you guys want to tell them what we're doing? Or do you want me to?
You're the producer. You're the foreman.
You're the producer.
That's fair. That is fair. We're changing the show format this time, guys. So, recently we've gotten a little bit of critical feedback from how our show is structured. So now we'll be separating the pitch episodes and the feed drop episodes as separate entities. So we will now do 2 pitches and then our ad segment to remind you guys of what we got going on. And then the next drop will be our feed drop of the chosen podcast sort of creation.
No more 2-hour episodes for you guys. What do you think this is,
Praise
Joe Rogan?
be.
Real,
This is the
honestly.
3 fucking morons experience.
So if you like our show and you like what we do, but you maybe don't like the sort of harebrained nonsense that we come up with during the pitch segments, then you can just enjoy our sort of feed drops, which will still continue to be feed drops, or you can...
I'm not sure why you would. The A segments are my favorite to record.
They are the best.
Really. But if you just like hearing our voices and don't like our sort of harebrained character segments, then you can go ahead and just listen to these pitches. So a little bit of delineation. But yeah, this is the podcast. A podcast for podcasters by podcasters. Every week we pitch and create new podcast innovations, and we're here to make them happen. Let's go to the Wheel of Choosing. Did anybody else have anything on their heart?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm just excited about my pitch this week. I just want to get to it. Just let me go first.
No, fuck you.
I'm deciding with my heart this week. The Wheel of Choosing has chosen not to work today. Just another victim of the strikes. We couldn't complete negotiations.
Fuck, this happened last time too. I don't know what's going on.
My mom the other day texted me. She sent me a picture of like a wheel in like a thing, and she goes, "It's the Wheel of Choosing." I was like, "Thanks, Mom."
Christy is an ally.
Truly. Ooh.
Talk, Valentina.
Oh, let's go,
first,
baby.
John Deere,
John
owner
Deere,
of the
John
biggest
316.
riding lawnmower. Tyler, you're up.
This is the Pee Pee Poo Poo podcast.
My
I'm
God.
kidding. It's not a Pee Pee. No, I'm not doing the
Don't
Pee Pee.
even fucking play.
I said I
Stop
would last
playing
week.
games with my heart, Tyler.
I spent the whole week trying to think of a pitch. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do the Pee Pee Poo Poo podcast.
We can't.
So there's this movie that came out in 1974. It's called Marathon Man. It was about a grad student who got involved with a Nazi plot.
Great start so
Even
far.
more cringe.
Hey, Tyler, we don't usually do this, but great start to your pitch already off the top. Just wanted to give you that editorial note. Great start to the pitch. All right.
Now, and the star of this movie was a young version of one of your favorite actors, O'Neill, Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman of Mr. McGorium's Wonder Emporium fame.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Hoffman's co-star was a actor by the name of Laurence Olivier, one of the greatest actors of all time. Starred in Lawrence of Arabia. Hey, ever think about how crazy is that Laurence Olivier starred as Lawrence of Arabia?
Tyler, it's a real John Carter situation. What's your fucking podcast idea, Tyler?
During the making of the movie, Dustin Hoffman's character had to stay up for 3 days. His character was awake for 3 days with a panic attack. Dustin Hoffman, who's a method actor, stayed up for 3 days to act this part.
Oh,
God, fucking
On
damn it.
set, Hoffman chastised Olivier for not having commitment to the craft, to which Olivier responded, "My dear boy, why don't you just try acting?"
Yes. I have heard this. I have heard
Now,
this
I think
quote.
that story is a little apocryphal, but this is the Method Acting Podcast.
Okay, interesting. All right.
This is a podcast in which we examine famous instances of method acting and whether it was worth it.
okay.
To get everyone to hate you.
Okay.
I like
So,
this.
like, right now we have, like, Jim Carrey as Kaufman, success. Heath Ledger as Joker, less of a success.
No, I would disagree. I
Joaquin
would
Phoenix
disagree.
is Joker. Better
Well,
success.
here's the thing. Now, here's on the one hand, Heath Ledger's Joker, not a success. Jared Leto's Joker, not a success. Daniel Day-Lewis's Abraham Lincoln. No one was mad about getting to talk to Abraham Lincoln every day, we examine the movie, we examine what they went through as the method actor, and we examine the performance, and we decide whether it was worth it.
Okay.
It's the Method
Paul
Acting
Dano,
Podcast.
his head, so hot, but he made a really good Riddler. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, like, other famous instances of this. Okay.
Yeah. That's really what I'm trying to get at is, like, how deep is this well and what can we do to sort of exploit it, right? So, like...
Because these will have to be,
I'm just
very, like, well-documented cases of method actors going to extremes.
There are enough to do a B segment, let me tell you that.
Go.
Okay. So then let's...
Here we go. Here's 10 instances of a method actor. Al Pacino went method for his role as Scarface.
Okay. Yeah, sure. He did so much cocaine. All right.
Jared Leto famously for the Joker. Robert De Niro, method actor for Raging Bull. Christian Bale went method for The Machinist, where he lost 63 pounds. You got all that kind of stuff. Joaquin Phoenix, all the
yes.
Jokers.
All the
just go
Jokers
method.
have to be method.
Natalie Portman in Black Swan. Adrian Brody in The Pianist.
Or as I like to call it, the penis.
Daniel Day-Lewis in literally everything
Yes.
he does.
Literally everything.
Dustin Hoffman in Marathon Man. We could start with that one.
Yeah, sure. Okay. All right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think he went method for Hook?
Do you think we have method for Mr. McGorm's Wonder Emporium and then sort of turned into Astral Dust?
Meryl Streep went method for her role in The Devil Wears Prada.
That's just Meryl Streep, though. That's just Meryl Streep
Yes.
being Meryl Streep. No, I'm sure she's a very lovely woman.
Rooney Mara went method for The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. See, there's lots of ones we could
That's
choose
just
from.
Meryl letting it out. She needed one where she just got to be terrible.
Okay, yes, I do think that is a deep vein. But what are we podcasting, right?
We are examining and determining whether it was worth it.
Okay.
Listen, in one of my other favorite interviews of all time, Robert Pattinson was discussing method acting. This was while he was acting on The Batman. They're like, hey, isn't it crazy how all the Jokers are method? And he's like, my thing with method acting is you never hear about anyone pretending to be a really nice person for a while.
Yeah.
We didn't Tom Hanks didn't go method for Are You My Neighbor? Sort of.
Exactly.
He
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
being Tom Hanks. And Tom Hanks is a lovely person, so he didn't really
Exactly.
need to be.
You only hear about it when it's like a terrible person. So basically, we're determining whether an actor being a terrible person and making everyone hate them was worth it for the art.
Okay, so
For the art, for the final result. Okay. And are we going off of the performance or the film itself?
Lasting legacy, even
Okay,
because that's the thing is listen, not to get morbid. Heath Ledger's role as the Joker is often cited as potentially
The best, yes.
One of the best performances of all time, but it's also might have been involved in it led to his suicide. It definitely wasn't good for him.
Okay, interesting. So the toll method acting takes, the cost
toll
of
method acting
acting
versus the art that was
maybe
created.
the financial cost of method acting.
He won an Oscar for that role.
He did
posthumously.
yeah, because it was so good. You guys have some theater experience, right? Or some like acting experience?
No.
Okay,
acting,
no.
yes. Theater, no.
Not at all.
Really? I'm the only one. Wow. Well, that surprises no one. I've studied under the great masters.
Brand. And that's sort of what Liver brings to the podcast.
Okay, because I have gone method for a handful of roles, but they weren't like full method. You know what I mean?
How many used condoms did you send in the mail?
Let me count real quick.
Jared
0.
Leto did when he was the Joker.
Yeah, that's disgusting. And I was like 15.
Shame.
So like,
missed opportunity.
Weren't committed.
Listen, I don't know what to do with all these guys.
You could get away with so many crimes and just chalk it into method acting.
Yeah, it was Ezra Miller method for The Flash. I don't think so.
I think they were just crazy.
I think they yeah. And that's sort of the other thing is like,
I think
where's
they're
that
really
line,
like
right?
live, laugh, loving for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the other thing is like, where does nouveau shamanism sort of play into that? Like Nick Cage is sort of always method acting. And so we sort of have to file that in there as well. Okay, Taylor, I'm very interested in this topic. I think it has legs. I do want to figure out like, what is the special angle we can put on this to make it, I'm not saying that it's not a viable product already, but is there a way we can sort of
You want to spice it up.
Spice it up just a smidge. Even if it's just like,
you wanna
we
flambe
are
it.
analyzing it from...
What if one of us is method for the recording?
As the character
we are discussing?
examining.
It could be that. It could be just another character that we've developed.
Sold.
And one of you, and you have to figure out by the
You
end.
want to know how I watched The Dark Knight?
That could
One
be
of
very
us
fun.
in character as the Joker examining Heath Ledger's performance.
Okay, interesting. So one of us has to stay in character the entire time. I like that.
Because that's the thing. You're right, Olivia. O'Neill and I have no acting experience. We don't know how difficult it is
studied
to
under
be
the great
method. We don't know
masters.
whether it works.
I do have acting experience. I do want to clarify. I've just never been in theater.
We haven't done it. We need to study under the great masters.
You have to study under my great
Stanislavski,
tutelage.
other ones.
Jared
I don't give a
Leto.
fuck about acting. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say I give a fuck about acting. I work in the movie industry. Actors are very important. I'm not an actor.
Jason
the art
Bateman,
form is
Neil
for them,
Patrick
not for me.
Harris. These are the actors of our time. Mila Kunis, where you at?
Zac Efron.
Zac Efron, always acting. Justin
Zach
Bieber,
Galifianakis.
always acting. It's always an act.
Now here's the interesting thing. Dwayne The Rock Johnson is always method acting. He's always in character.
Because he's
It's
always
great.
Dwayne The
as
Rock.
True.
By day,
Now
he
here, no,
is
The
Dwayne
Rock
Johnson.
and Dwayne Johnson, two different
By
guys.
day,
By
he
day,
is
he's
also The Rock.
By night, he's just Dwayne.
It's sort of like The Mask, where he can't, at night is only when he can transform
like
into The
Swan
Rock.
Lake. Rock
Shit.
Lake.
Pretty good. All right, so let's figure
like
out
this.
this then. So what is the angle we want to take for this method acting thing? I do like sort of analyzing it as the cost of method acting, financial, reputational, and social, mental, and physical /
Yeah. What are the
financial.
consequences?
Listen, think of it this way. It's because we were talking about ones where it worked, but it wasn't worth it, or ones where the method, they didn't go deep enough in the method, so the performance wasn't good enough. There's also ones where they go deep and everyone kind of roasts them for it, like Jared Leto.
Yes.
Everyone's like, "Hey, Jared, your performance. Hey, I know you mailed all those used condoms and dead rats to your co-stars. Wasn't worth it, dog.
Not for Suicide Squad or for...
Was not.
And listen,
Absolutely
that
not.
started the pushback against Jared Leto. It was around. Listen, without Jared Leto's performance as the Joker, and that sort of thing, we wouldn't have gotten Morbius.
Listen, I think he should just stay in the Choupette suit until like his next role.
Yeah, is there maybe a penalty box we put certain actors in if they fuck up?
A method acting penalty box. That's a great. There should be an actor penalty box. It's like, hey, this
Where
this
you're only
movie,
allowed
you
to
have
act
to
in
play
I
Yourself.
think it's called The Blacklist?
No, that's the actor red card.
Nick Cage was in the penalty
is
box for
you're only
years.
allowed to work.
That's Mr. McCarthy's good list.
That's true. That's the red list. So these are the things I think we could do. I think we can establish the costs for all of them, and then whether or not they go into the penalty box, and then we have to cast them in either a Nickelodeon children's programming, a DCOM show, or a Cartoon Network live-action spin-off. And those are the only three types of projects they're allowed to work
in order to get them out of character, we have to cast them in the opposite role so it cancels out.
Okay, I like this. I like this.
So Jared Leto is actually that we're making Welcome to the Neighborhood again.
You need to play. It's a sitcom where you're cast as Jared Leto.
It's now nope. Jared Leto's taking Tom Hanks's role as Mr. Rogers.
Okay, all right. Or
they just need to push them towards
Little Pony.
moral like better moral standing. So eventually they like net moral neutral.
Or maybe we should just send them a copy of Stanislavski's book, because mailing dead rats to the co-stars is not what the guy who created method acting was talking about.
Not at all.
For those of you who don't know, the original concept of method acting was created to just like more like put yourself in the shoes of said character, not to be that character often on screen.
So what do we want to come up with names for Tyler's podcast?
My method man.
Methadone man? Oh, that sounds like methadone man.
Man.
Oh no. I didn't mean to. Oh
method
no.
is bad for your teeth. And it's sort of meth. Capital METH.
Can we name it after Marathon Man? How this concept started?
No, nobody knows that movie besides you, Tyler. You're the only one.
Heard of it.
Me and all the old people and
How about,
movie historians.
Is it worth
People
it?
care about
Is it worth it? Let me work it. Let me stop, drop, dip it, and reverse it. Put the thing down, flip it, and reverse it.
Method. What if we call this like the something method? Like we create our own acting school of methodology.
Okay,
like our own sort of, yeah. Like this is the PP method. You know what I mean? Like something like that. But like, it has to make sense. The method, but that is kind of follows the great tradition of us having terrible SEO for our podcasts, even if it is.
Guys, don't do method.
That's a good one.
Don't do method.
Hang on, let me see if there are any
tried
like
method even once.
Yeah, anti-meth ads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now to see if there's like a big one. How about this one that says meth? I'm on it.
Oh no.
Method, I'm on it.
A dime bag of method acting.
Honestly, method not even once is pretty good.
All right. I like method not even once.
Method not even once is good.
Are we good? Are we good with that? Method not even once?
Yeah, method not even once
Let's
is
go
great.
with that then. All right. Method not even once. Let's share the wheel. It is always sad when I just do one funny name for Tyler and not for me and Olivia, and then Tyler goes first, so then it's just kind of a normal wheel spin. Wheel spin!
And then it's just, ooh!
It's just a bit for you guys.
It's me.
Oh, no.
It's me.
There he is.
All right. Okay, cool. A very simple pitch. And then I want to spend some time hashing it out and come up with a name. Humans have kind of always been the same for a long time. For probably thousands of years, at least. We've always kind of been the same. Life has kind of always been the same. It's just we add different shit into it. And I want to sort of analyze that. And so I am bringing to you 101 decades, where we spend 101 episodes analyzing every decade from 1010 to 2020.
So this is like
pretty
a
good.
BuzzFeed 100 years of hair kind of video situation.
A little bit. I was thinking more so 99% invisible, sort of like analyzing the technology and societal aspects.
But is it like random, or are we going in order?
Well, if we choose it for a B segment, Oliver,
like, are we talking about like 1490 or like 1630s?
Yes.
Or like
the goal
1860s.
is this was to actually be
the 1840s would be good for me.
Yes. The goal, if we were going to do this like full term, if we were actually to produce this, would be to do, episode 1 would be 1010, and then it would be 1020, 1030, 1040, 1050, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So 1010, they invent rock, and then sharp rock, and then sharper rock, and then sharp rock on
I
a stick.
think we had rock
That was
sort of
before.
covered in the 1010. Yeah. And that sort of shows Olivia's sort of historical knowledge. But that would be the idea,
I thought we were
right?
starting from the beginning.
Analyze...
I thought we were starting from when the Bible started.
No, Olivia, because that's not 101.
I do like this. Now, episode 69, 1690, lots of stuff happening in 1690.
But I've had a couple of these revelations recently. One, humans have always lived in cities. The majority of humans have always lived in cities, right?
That's simply not true.
That is
If
incorrect.
you look at it from a societal standpoint, populations have mostly been in large areas in the...
Sure, people lived in communities. Sure, people did live in cities.
Well, yes, it wasn't like
it was not urban,
like an urban city. But what I'm saying is the human experience has looked and felt similar because humans have our pack animals. You know, we come together, you know, we work in trade and live communally, right? Mm-hmm. And then you get your rural outsiders that, you know, live in the fields and sort of stuff like that. But when you're analyzing society, it is mostly, you know, large groups of people and then small sections of people, and then migration sort of comes off of that. So as far as what I would like to analyze, these are the things I would like to analyze. The top technologies invented in that decade, and then just sort of a snapshot of what has changed in the human experience, right? So like episode 1 would obviously just be covering the basic ground rules of the, what is that? What century would that be? The 10th century? 9th, 11th, 9th? What's 1010?
That's
11th century.
The 11th century.
And then we can sort of analyze
right in
why
those
we
Middle
count
Ages,
like that
baby.
too, because it's bad. It's a bad way to count.
It is bad. It is a bad way to count.
Oh my God. In 1690, they discovered Uranus.
Oh, shit. So for our 69th episode.
Cool. So we have to do 1690s. 169th
That'd be a great one. Yes. So that's essentially the podcast is 101 decades. We analyze from a technological and societal standpoint what happened that decade. CNN has a really good sort of docu-series of sort of culminating each decade. Mm-hmm. So that, you know, they have 1980. They have like 1950 to 2010 or something like that. Something like that. Yeah, I would like to do that. Little bit smaller and encompassing the whole decade and just focusing on technology and human experience. Just to, again, show that this human experiences has kind of been similar for a long time.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so basically finding a connecting thread between like humanity being like, we've always been into silly shows with dick jokes in them, like Shakespeare in the 1400s.
Yep.
But also we've been really good at killing other people that we're better at than we think we're better than. So like also that. So like just the trends of humanity being both great and bad.
Mm-hmm. And it's sort of showing how we've always kind of been the same. I do want to, this is a sort of personal specification. I do want to stay away from war and warfare unless it is pertinent to the actual development of daily life, right?
Okay.
So like a lot of war does create new technologies that are then implemented in society. So that is a fair point to like highlight. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to sort of focus more so on the home life. What inspired this? Let me just go ahead and get this out of the way. 99% Invisible did an episode on, oh God, Tyler, you probably know what this is. The kitchen.
I haven't
The kitchen. What's the kitchen called? The Frankfurt kitchen.
Frankfurt kitchen. Okay.
I don't know. Why would I know about the Frankfurt kitchen?
Because you're a history nerd, Tyler. Anyway.
So this is like the icebox,
the invention of the modern kitchen.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, exactly. All of it being secluded in its own area and everything being sort of close and tidy, stuff like that. That's what inspired this idea, because that was an innovation that completely changed the modern human's sort of conception of.
Now,
yes.
Here's the thing. Here's my light pushback where you're like, I want to talk about the changes at home rather than the general greater changes to humanity, because it's about human experience. You're looking at everything from sort of a decade perspective.
Yeah.
If you look at like the year 1000 to the year 1100, almost nothing changed technology-wise.
It didn't.
I mean,
that is
they'll
true.
be like,
to be
"Here's
fair,
the
but-
printing press."
Much less, not enough that you could break it down by decade. It's not like
Well,
the
you
60s,
can though,
70s,
Tyler,
80s, 90s,
because there were
1000s.
small things, and this is where it gets into the conceit of the podcast. It is small things that build up over time that then completely revolutionize how humans interact and how our daily lives change. And also, Tyler, you have to also think about it from a global perspective. From your perspective, nothing happened in the 1000s from the West, but on the East, there's a whole bunch of different things. We're taking a global look at it.
Or in those areas, yes. If you're talking like 1000 to like 1300, yes, there's a lot of math being improved upon in the Arab states, but.
So like, what's our geographical focus for this? Like, what is our like lens that we're viewing this from? Is this like European? Is this Asian? Is this like, are we looking at this from like an American lens? Are we looking from it from a Western lens, from a European lens? How like life is impacted on one spot? Because if we go global, the episodes will be 24 hours long. They'd be 10 hours long.
No,
We'd have to
I don't
spend an
think so.
hour on each.
I think that is why we need to highlight and focus on the revolutions that happen, the technological and societal changes that happen. Because that's why I don't think we will be short on anything. Because again, we're talking about, on a global perspective, what changed here, here, and here, right? And the first episode might be a little longer just because you would need to cover your bases as far as to what society looks like and what it is. But then after that, it is just the changes. Wait, what changed here? In China, this happened. In the Arab states, this happened. This area, this happened. Germany formed here, then, stuff like that. This is when we sort of...
Here's what I think. I need you to give me a random year from whenever, and I'm going to look at it, and I want to see if I can find the types of things that you're talking about.
Okay, sure. 1350.
Okay. That's right in the middle of the Black Plague.
Okay,
just
that's
so
a
you know.
great thing. The Black Plague will have a
That's
whole
gonna be some
umbrella
like
over
that's
it.
gonna be some like horny Pope shit.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to like get at. Is there is something in every decade that could fill an hour. We won't be encompassing, right? You could do a whole podcast like this just from every week in the 80s, right? If you wanted to. That's not what this is. This is not covering every single minute aspect of it. This is just the innovations. Again, think 99% invisible. Like the things that change, that created, that form our society.
Yep. 1350, the Black Death first appears in Scotland and
So
Sweden.
that's already a great episode, right? 1350 would be a beautiful episode. And then talking about the Black Plague, what happens on that side, and then bouncing around to the other countries because other stuff was happening.
Giovanni Valente becomes the Doge of Genoa.
Again, that's still big picture, Tyler. I want to go a little bit smaller with it.
Okay.
That's all the Wikipedia page has, my brother.
That's why we actually have to do real research for this podcast, Tyler.
Hey, Wikipedia is
But
real
we can
research.
also choose an easier year if we want to do this for B segment.
Hang on. Who died in 1350? You know how it has listed deaths and it tells you the date. For example, Philip VI of France died on August 22nd. Other people who died in the year 1350,
Charlemagne.
a man by the name of Till Eulenspiegel, comma, I'll give you $10 if you guys can guess what this man's profession was and why he's famous.
Eulenspiegel?
Eulenspiegel?
Till Eulenspiegel.
Where's he from? Where's he
Spiegel.
from?
I'll tell you, he's German.
Okay.
It's two words, and the first one is German. He's a German what?
German.
And why is it?
He's an
Clog
entertainer of
maker.
some kind. He's an entertainer of some kind. He's like a professional like flatulator, like something
getting
shit
there,
like that.
Liver.
He's like a professional fart man.
Professional farter.
This man, Till Eulenspiegel. Oh my God, his Wikipedia page is huge. He
professional
died
eater.
in 1350 and is famous for being a German prankster.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Fuck yeah, dude.
I almost said
First
jester.
YouTuber.
Fuck, that's very funny.
This is the first prankster of all time. Oh my God, are you kidding me? I need to know everything about
And this
this
is
guy.
where the podcast
Great.
comes from, right? This is where we can focus in. And that's just, and Tyler, you're looking at just
He
the
said,
year
I'm going to make sure that Impractical Jokers makes it big.
Yeah, sort of.
There are 3 museums in Germany featuring Till Eulenspiegel.
Sure, great. So this is.
Do we have it in the budget to go visit Till Eulenspiegel?
Maybe not this quarter, maybe next quarter. So, and Tyler, that was just 1 year, right? That's who died in 1350, not who died in the 1350s, right? So,
well, a lot of people died in the 1350s.
Black Plague,
but we don't know,
exactly. So,
a lot of them. Yeah.
This is the podcast. This is the concept of it. Do we want to talk any about the structure of it? How we would want to do it?
I mean, it's got to be like almost year by year, but how those years are connecting and how they connect to the past. I don't think we can go quite forward if that, because like spoilers.
Guys, Eulenspiegel means wipe ass in Low German. Are you kidding me? This dude was ahead of his time.
Oh shit, that's pretty good. Hello, my name's Till Eulenspiegel, and welcome to Wipe Ass.
Till Eulenspiegel and the Southern Comedy Tour.
Wow, I love the Charmin Bears.
That's pretty good. Shit, he was the first Charmin Bear. That's what it was.
If your last name translates to Wipe Ass, you might be a German prankster.
Shit. Anyway, all right.
Yeah, so I think it's got to be almost like a year by year sort of thing. And honestly, it might not have to be a global thing. We could be like, here's the most interesting place for that decade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think just
we could
making
even
sure we cover
focus
our
in on
bases.
that. Be like, we were like, 1690 was a great year for Italy, or great decade for Italy, or like the 1450s was great for the Pope, something like that.
The Pope, sure,
yeah,
sure.
The Pope.
I mean, and that's what honestly probably it would be like a technological overview, right? These were the 6 or 7 technologies that were invented in this decade, and then these are the places that had highlights of decades, right? And every place probably had things we could go on and on about, but yeah. Perfect. Cool.
Yeah, that itches my history buff sort of brain area. I like that.
And that is 101 decades. How do we feel about that name?
I like it. I do. I like the name too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Tyler, or not Tyler, shit. Liver? Yeah. Oh, wait, no, ad segment. Sorry. This is new. We have a new show structure.
I have an ad.
That's right. Okay, now that I finished my pitch, it's time to go to the ad segment before we hear Liver's pitch.
Are audiobooks not your style? Is reading physical pages too slow and boring? Well, Audible is the answer you need. Audible is a groundbreaking technology brought to you by the minds at Azamon.com.
You can't. We're so close to getting sued already.
Using your own mobile device, you'll be able to use the Audible adapter to strap your personal device to your head and let the magic happen. The Audible app will flash the individual words of your text at a rapid rate in front of your eyes. Your brain is able to read up to 250 words a minute. With Audible's rapid read system. What sets Audible apart from the leading speed reading competitor is Audible's unique active emphasis program. By selecting a gender and accent, Audible's active emphasis program will project the important words right into your personal listening devices. With this program, I've been able to read Pride and Prejudice in less than a day. Read faster, longer, and understand more with Audible. With countless titles to choose from, Audible will showcase the ease and speed of reading right before your eyes. Listeners of the podcast can receive a special offer by emphasizing podcast at sign up for one free title of your choice. Audible, where yelling is reading.
Very good. Thank you, Liver, for that great ad segment that we are being paid. I think I looked in the notes. We're being paid 6 figures for that one. So can't wait for that sort of find the funds to come
has that
through
fucking cash.
Azamon. Yeah, Azamon. Are they direct competitor with any sort of other, let's say, book shipping company? Goodreads, maybe? Barnes and Noble?
Yeah, Narns and Boble.
Narns and Boble. Okay, all right. Thank you. If you like our show and you like what we do and you want Olivia's internet connection to be better, why don't you go ahead and rate us 5 stars on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And maybe we can afford to get Liver. I know that we just said it was a 6-figure thing, but it's 6 sort of presidential figures. So it's 6 George Washingtons we got
I'm
paid for that one.
podcasting on hard mode.
Yeah. So if you want the show to be better, go ahead and rate us 5 stars on Google Play, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And check out our website.biz. I'm actually working on that this weekend and updating the transcripts and just putting some work into it. And you can find all of our feed drops and other information about us on our website. But yeah, so without further ado, back to the podcast. Liver, you're up.
Great. Thank you, O'Neill, for that wonderful transition. All right, boys. We've known each other a long time.
Yeah.
We've been at each other's weddings. We were at each other's college graduation because we all graduated from the same college. We've known each other a long time. But the thing is, what do we really know about each other? And one of the most classic ways that you get to know your friends is by playing the classic game Coke or Pepsi.
Dungeons and Dragons.
This is
Shit, Tyler, not yet. Hold on. Hold.
This is a spin on Coke or Pepsi where we get to know each other through a choice of questions. Questions about personal preference.
Okay.
So, like, are you a Coke or Pepsi person? Are you a dogs or cats person? Do you take milk or sugar in your coffee? Do you support the death penalty? So, like, that kind of thing.
All right, man.
So we're trying to get to know each other on a more granular, personal level. Welcome to our version of this. Welcome to Sierra Mr. Spray.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Can I suggest Dr. Pepper or Mr. Pibb?
Dr. Pepper, Mr. Pibb is a great one as well. Thank you.
Entirely different sodas. Leagues apart, my friend.
True. To be fair, too. Well, to be fair, Sierra Mist and Sprite are also pretty fucking... I'm pretty sure I could say definitively all 3 of us would choose Sprite.
Well, considering they no longer make Sierra Mist, yeah, I'd say it's a pretty easy choice. But I'm going for the nostalgia pull, okay? Ya mind?
Someone sued Sierra Mist. That's why, because their name was Sierra Mist, and that's what Squirt is.
No, Squirt is like a grapefruit soda.
Squirt is a grapefruit drink.
Squirt is piss. But
you can't. Shit.
What did Sierra Mist
stick
become?
it to big soda.
Shit.
It became something.
Starry.
They turned it into Starry. That's
Starry. That's
Starry.
right. Starry. Yes. Okay. Anyway. All right, Olivia.
So this is Sierra Mr. Spray, where we pose each other. This is a kind of question and answer thing. We don't have to explain our answers. I don't need to know why you support the death penalty or not. I'm not putting answers in your mouth. But I'm just saying that we can get to know each other on a silly little question level and become closer as friends. This is a bonding exercise.
Okay. All right. 2 things. One,
I think will also pay dividends for our comedy synergy.
Yes, I do think that'll be great. I do think, we did have funny trends, and some of that might have been a little bit too much on the old comedy brain, but I do think this lays straight in that nice little middle ground we have. I do have 2 sort of suggestions, or like not necessarily qualms, but like topics of discussion for this pitch. The first one.
Yes.
I do like how you buried the lead a little bit. I do think we need to get a little bit more into the deep questions. Do you support the death penalty? Which god would you like to be? Sort of.
Nikki Haley or Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could be any kind of tree, what would you be?
I do want to get a little bit deeper on the questions.
Mine is the elm.
I think that would be a nice little dive in. But I do like so I do think there's 2 sides to this potentially. There's the Coke versus Pepsi, which is a classic game, like an either or game. You mentioned that you don't want us to explain it, but I think if we were just to do the either or game, I think most of it would have to be the...
You don't have to.
Yes, okay, sure. And then I think the other angle of it would be a more like in-depth questionnaire thing about like like we each come up with the most out-of-pocket questions to ask each other, and we all have to answer seriously. So I think we could do either one of those. I think
this would be a fun exercise for us. I think honestly, what I do like, there is a game called We're Not Really Strangers. Big fan of this game. And the premise of We're Not Really Strangers is that it is 3 levels of questions of, I guess, depth is the way that you would explain the sort of levels of it. So the first is more topical, like, you know, when have you ever been in love? You know, that kind of thing is like the first level. The second level is like, is there anything that you're really ashamed of in your life? You know, how is that still like weigh on you? And like the final one is like, you know, do you believe in death and that you're a good person? So it varies in sort of like depth and severity. We don't obviously need to go into the philosophical thing.
we know we have an embargo on that.
A bunch of assholes talking about the meaning of death. Exactly. We're not allowed to talk about philosophy.
No.
But the thing is, I think we could do 3 different levels, honestly. We could do like your Coke or Pepsis, but then you could be like, you know, do you think there's an afterlife? And then, you know, whatever we think fit those categories.
Okay.
Do you think we've met before? Do you think we've podcasted before in a previous life?
Do you think we've podcasted in another life?
Shit. Okay, I do like this. I wanted to maybe put some at least personal parameters around it. One, I want to try to avoid bummers. Yeah. I think keeping it out of pocket.
Yeah, no. That's not the that's not the point. That was just the comparison. That's the like sad comp. That's the real life comp. This is jokes.
And then
this is jokes and funny questions. And sometimes we can get a little granular with it, but we don't have to get sad and bummer about it. Okay. Because I don't really want to talk to you. As much as I love you guys, I don't want to talk to you about how I think death works.
Okay. Or maybe we do and we keep it funny and brief. I don't know. But this is the other thing. All right.
You pitched a death podcast last week, Olivia.
To be fair.
But like, I don't want to talk about like whether or not I think I'm going to go to heaven because I'm a good person or not, like Christian heaven. I don't, I don't need to explain whether or not I think there's like an afterlife. Like that's not the kind of shit I want to get into. I want to know if you would rather have a horse or a big pony, like that kind of thing.
Would you rather have
top or
20
bottom?
duck-sized ponies or 20 pony-sized ducks?
Top or bottom?
All right. All right. Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. So I'm down for this. I do think we need to pick an avenue as far as the Coke versus Pepsi angle, or just like the out of pockets, you must answer these questions angle. And so I think, you know, which one?
Because
go ahead, Ty.
If it's the out of pocket, then it's more of like it's a hot seat.
Yes,
game,
exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It's the hot seat podcast.
Yeah, which I like.
Yes.
Yeah, which I also like that.
So
yes.
Olivia, this is your pitch. I want you to steer the ship. Which one do you want us to sort of lean into? The either or, and then we have to like sort of explain ourselves and reason. And I think we could, if we wanted to gamify that even further, we could like say why our choices are better, and sort of break that down and make it almost like that one game where you like have to. You'd lay out the different cards and you have to like pitch why your thing is best.
Like Super Fight?
Like Super Fight kind of. Or, I mean, the hot seat thing is also good, and that just sort of writes itself as like, these are the questions we have to answer. And
I think that's a sort of fun thing to put us on the spot. I think some spontaneity. Okay. I think we'll also just to be like, here's the out of pocket thing, and you have to answer it. It's not going to be like, how many girls have you kissed? It's going to be like, something you fuckheads will think of something
I've
crazy.
already got mine for Tyler.
So
it's fine.
You know it's gonna be
and I've got 3 for you, Olivia, and it's gonna be great. But this is what I want you to do, Olivia.
Great.
I want you to choose now because we're at this fork in the road. Which one do you want? Do you want to go down the either or thing and we like come up with the game for that, or the hot seat and we sort of figure out structure?
I think hot seat is gonna be a little bit easier. I think it also is gonna allow us to stretch creatively a little bit more because we have a little bit more of a sandbox instead of the egg carton of either or. So.
Then I think what would be good for the rest of this sort of structural thing is come up with the game show game of the either or hot seat thing. Like what sort of if we're allowed to skip a question, what do we have to sacrifice? Like the game of it.
Yeah. So what like actual like rules and regulations are? What's the handbook for this game for Sierra Mist or Sprite? So we gotta play for points. We gotta play for points, baby.
How do we assign the points?
You answered the question.
Okay.
You answer the question.
You can choose to not answer a question, but you don't get a point.
I want the penalty for not answering a question.
We gotta do more stakes. More stakes. You know.
Well, Tyler, that is bigger, to be fair.
Damn, those stakes are so high. Point system, easy enough. You know, if we're all playing hot seat and we're all, two of us are answering a question that one of us poses, it could be whoever is doing the question goes, your answer is better. That could be the judging part of it. It's almost like a Cards Against Humanity thing, but it's the two of us, which answer is better for your hot seat question? Is it Sierra Mist
or I have
Sprite?
A better one, and I don't know how we feel about it. But
what do you got, oh boy?
If you ask the question and somebody answers it, they get a point. If you ask the question and both people refuse to answer, you get 3 points. Now, I know this can break bad very quickly.
I think that is pushing towards, that's pushing towards invasive, I think, on some of these. We want to stay friends. Because we have a show to do.
Yes, true.
And life events to attend.
Yes, true.
I think, I don't want us to push into like uncomfortable territory.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. So I'm trying to think of other, but that's sort of where I'm going for as far as like gamifying it. Or, for instance, like say we ask the question and then one of us gets to, if both of us answer it, the person who asked it has to then answer it. Something there where like we add a little bit more game flavor into it.
Something like that. There's a conditional part of the game. Yeah.
Or like, that's what I want to sort of brainstorm on and drum up is like, what other conditional aspects can we add to this game to, just heighten the game a little bit.
Really sort of raise the stakes. So it could be like, I'm going to ask you a question that I really don't want to answer. And if you both answer honestly, unfortunately, I have to say something that I probably don't want to, but it's not going to be high stakes. It's not going to like ruin my career or get me fired or ruin my relationship. It's not going to be that kind of shit, but it'll be like, how recently have you shit your pants?
That would be a fun question.
Too recently.
Very good. Yeah, I also like maybe there's an aspect of once per game, each person is allowed to lie. And it's sort of like the BS game where you have to...
guess. Yes, that was another element that I was thinking of.
And then if you do guess it right, they get like an extra question at the end that they cannot avoid. That sort of thing. I do like that, but but then what would the penalty be if you call BS and it is a true answer?
They call it BS and it is a true answer.
Yeah. I think you only just get one BS and one lie.
That's a good question.
I mean, I think it could just be you lose
so it's
points.
kind of like we could just really game show it and just make it points. We don't have to make it a head shaving punishment.
Yeah, we don't have to make it
a
fantasy football punishment.
I know that. I get it. I know we don't have to make it a fantasy.
No. Well, hey Tyler. What are the stakes for your league this year?
Oh, it's nothing. It's just for fun.
Wow, funny! Great fodder for our
there's no punishment
podcast.
For losing.
Tyler Carcar, give
Listen,
it a hand.
now is that BS or is it the truth?
God damn it!
What?
Anyway, I do want to.
It was a lie. I actually have to go. I have to. If whoever loses has to go get a degree in gender studies.
Oh, great, fantastic! Sort of a long game for.
They have to educate themselves.
Wow, fantasy football making changes in our society. Finally.
That's the game. That's the game.
All right. Yeah, I do want to add a couple more game aspects of it, just so that way we have more fodder that isn't just the questions. I think the questions will be good, but I think just adding a little bit more onto it.
I think we can have like rounds of it, I think would be a good way to structure it, where we don't go right to hot seat, where like even we could do like the either or as like a warm up, where those are going to get like increasingly sillier, and then we go to hot seat. I think that could be
interesting.
That could be good.
Would you want to do that at the top, or would
Yeah.
you want to do that as like a rapid fire at the end, like either or, and then you just go, and then you can ask why. Like it's like boo boo boo. Okay, good. Good.
Yeah, I think for timing purposes, I think
Okay.
it should be at the top, just because if we are like we do need to move on, like we could be like you don't have to explain. You know, we can keep the answer short for our explanations. We don't need to go into a big sort of explanation of certain things because we know that we have to move on. So, you know, unless it's really funny.
Okay, cool. And then, so we have the sort of everybody gets one lie, everybody gets to call BS once, that sort of thing. What is the punishment if you do get caught lying?
Mm-hmm.
You have to go get an entire degree in gender studies.
I don't think so, Tyler. I think that's a little bit financially.
You have to get a tattoo with podcast written on your body.
Shit,
Oh,
I'm
wait.
getting mine. Shit.
Consequences for lying. The consequences for lying.
Getting caught lying.
Getting caught
is
jail time.
a prison sentence. The electric chair.
What is the podcasting electric chair? What? You know what
You
it
get
is?
your mic muted.
No, bad
what is the
podcasting.
podcasting death penalty? What's the worst thing you could do on a podcast?
Sing.
You have to riff for 5 minutes by yourself, and you can't
Shit.
stop.
You have to do a tight
loser of
60
the pod
seconds.
You have to do a monologue.
Has to do a
Shit.
you have to do a tight 5.
Oh
on the
man,
pod.
my guts are already turned into water as it is. That's great. That's
5
great.
is long.
Tyler, you brought up this.
5 is
you brought this
long.
up, but you damn
Maybe.
well know you might be the one getting caught.
Is that now? Do we need to write all our tight 5s before, or do we wait until we lose?
I think you have to lose first.
Yeah, you have to just come up with it. It has to be tight. Okay, would that be funnier than you having to do some sort of physical challenge or mental challenge?
It's a podcast. There's no physical challenge.
Yeah, it's a podcast. We can't be like, "Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo." Like we can't have, you know, that unfortunate sounding thing happening.
No, but there is definitely ways to turn physical challenges into audio format. I've done it plenty at this point.
You have to
for
yell
this
jokes
show.
from across the room.
Jokes.
Or maybe you just have to answer another question that you don't get to turn
It
down.
could be an additional question. Exactly.
Yeah. So something like that. Okay.
Yeah, and for each loss, if you lie
You
again,
could have like a
then
pool
it's 2.
of questions. Yeah, it could be a pool of questions that we like all of us create.
That we
could just
say like,
pull.
okay, these are the ones you have to answer.
So I think
okay,
it's
cool.
good
I think we're
structure.
starting to build something really strong here. I want to, before we go into the deliberation, Liver, Sprite versus Sierra Miss. I don't know if that works with the current show we have now, unless
with
how
this
are you
new
feeling about that
structure.
title?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hot pod.
Yeah. The hot pod.
That's
Oh,
my
I love
hot pod.
I
sort
love
of
Korean hot pod.
recommendation.
Hot pod potato is. I don't know what the podcast would be, but it's a good name.
Okay.
Also
I do
an
like
option.
hot seat questions.
Answer or die.
Answer or die. All right. And so there is, do we want to reference an older pitch, Whales, our sort of Death to Whalers podcast? Do we want to sort of create a fiction in the,
No.
No, this is about getting.
No
This one's about getting to
characters.
know you
Okay,
better. This
okay,
one has
This
to be
one's about
sincere.
truth, justice, the American way.
The American way.
yes. Okay. In that case,
Sit and squirm.
Sit and squirt.
God damn it.
This is just what did you do again?
Yeah. What have you done?
What did you do?
What have you done?
How about hang on, how about in that vein? Answer me.
Okay, answer me. The Answer Me podcast. Let's see if that's taken.
The Impossible Interview, which we've pitched before as a
There's
name.
a podcast called Answer Me This.
How about a long podcast name like The Fifth Amendment Does Not Exist in This Pod?
What?
really go for our- really go for our
Actually,
long
Tyler,
one.
I like where you're going with that.
Pod the Fifth?
Pod the Fifth
Pod
is
the
very
Fifth?
good.
iPod the Fifth.
Pod the Fifth.
I think it has to be iPod the Fifth.
Why iPod the
the
Fifth?
Then it sounds
Yeah.
like iPod.
I plead the Fifth.
Oh, you're saying
iPod the Fifth
iPod
is-
the Fifth.
Podly.
I pod the Fifth. Yeah.
Okay, not
Space
iPod the Fifth. Okay.
Your Honor, iPod the Fifth. Pod the Fifth sounds like a cool new way to do drugs that the kids are
Hey,
doing.
bro, can you
I do
pod
like
me a
iPod
fifth?
Dude,
the
you're going to
Fifth.
want to go out back and pod the Fifth.
iPod the fifth? Okay.
iPod the Fifth, I think. I like. Yeah.
All right. I like it. Lock it in. Lock it
Hey
in.
guys, you want to go out back and pod the Fifth with me?
Hey, man, can I pod a fifth off you?
So you trade weed for alcohol.
All right. Cool. I love it. All right. Time to get a recap. Tyler, what you got?
I pitched Method not even once, a podcast examining and determining whether method actors should have done that.
That's fair. That's a good one. I pitched 101 Decades, a sociological and technological history podcast examining human society each decade from 1010 to 2020 and sort of taking a lens to what society looked like and how it sort of is all the same. And that is 101 Decades.
And I pitched iPod the Fifth, a hot seat game show where three friends get to know each other through a series of embarrassing questions and answers. Mm-hmm. I don't know who that character was, but I don't think I liked them.
All right, and now it's time to go to deliberation. All right. What do we think, guys? Deliberation time.
Oh boy. We're going to have to do quite a bit of research for yours.
Yep.
Also Tyler's.
Yep.
There's going to be prep for, I mean, obviously all of them, but
Yeah, all of them have. I would
I
say
think the work,
some of them have
the work
more
is
than
a little
others.
bit more divided, I think, for iPod the Fifth.
I mean, it would have to be divided. I think either way for all of these podcasts. I don't see a way in which we
would just
all-
have to focus. We would all have to focus on a sort of different sector. For each of these.
Yeah. Okay, what are we feeling? How are we feeling about? I mean, if we're being completely honest, when I was coming up with 101 Decades, I was thinking bit depth with it, but I do think it could also be. I mean, I think it'd be easy to create, especially if we choose an easy decade.
It could be both. Exactly. Yeah.
What if we just picked like the 1980s?
And then we just sort of replay the audio from that CNN documentary.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit,
we just
easy,
upload
easy.
that.
I mean, again, we talked about it during my pitch, but it would be fairly easy to create. But I'm not married to making it this week.
Yeah, it just depends on the decade. We just have to find a good one.
Method, not even once. I'm still a little bit like hazy on the actual form and structure of the show, but I think it has legs. I just don't know if it is. Is it? Here's the question for Method, not even once. Is this just an episode series on Hollywood Junior?
It kind of does sound like something we would talk about.
Well,
but it's,
if we ever record Hollywood Junior, maybe.
Well, Tyler, we still have a Barbenheimer you haven't edited, so the ball's kind of in your court.
That's true.
But I don't want to completely discount it because it is a very good idea, Tyler. But I'm just wondering, is this something that we already could fold into one of our properties?
Well, here's the deal. When we talked about Hollywood Junior initially, we just did that so we could stop talking about new movies and content on the pod because that's all we were doing. Mm-hmm. This is not that. This is movie related, but I feel like it's in itself
movie
a separate
adjacent,
podcast. Yeah. Now, I'm not against saving this for a Dead Week Hollywood Junior thing where it's like, well, every couple months we're going back to the old well of Method not even once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Has sort of a podcast segment. In the same way the Big Picture does movie drafts kind of thing, where it's like we're bored, we got to draft movies.
Yeah, especially going into the back to school kind of lull for theaters, it could be something. If nothing good is coming out and we don't want to talk about one of our favorite movies, we could do a Method not even once.
That's great.
I'm fine kicking that over to our fledgling movie podcast.
Sure. Okay, cool. So iPod the Fifth. How do we feel if we were to do that? Let's say theoretically tomorrow night.
I think it could be fun.
Okay.
I think it could be fun. I think we could come up with some stuff that isn't going to hurt each other's feelings. I think it could be also just like a fun thing for us to do in addition to it being show.
Yeah. Okay. I definitely can see that. I'm completely crossed in the middle between the two, so I'm fine with iPod the Fifth as well. Tyler, where are you at?
Yeah, I think I'm with iPod the Fifth. I think that one will be the quickest and easiest to produce.
For once, I did the easy to produce show.
Yeah. Olivia finally brings the B segment to the show.
Listen,
No, that's good. I think I
brought up the rear. I was the true caboose of the show, and I brought it. Baby. Excellent.
All right. So, shit, guys, I don't have an outro for the show now. Because usually it's like, and we'll see you after this break for the B segment. How do we end the show now? Guys, how do we end the show now?
Yike.
All right, so we've got iPod the 5th. Stay tuned for next week when we bring you the full production.
Podcast.
We can't do like a Sonic bath.
No, we can't do Sonic bath. That's the McElroy bit. That's their bit.
We can't do Sonic bath. No. We can't do that.
I'm trying to think. Do we just sort of do a chant? Maybe a prayer? Can we close it out with a prayer? Do you all want to hold hands and just pray?
Ooh,
Our God
can we
is an awesome God.
Can whoever wins the segment
from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love? Our God.
Hang on. Whoever wins, can I pitch something? Whoever wins the segment
Leads us in prayer?
gets to do the outro, leads us in prayer. So Olivia, our pod is an awesome potty veins from your podcatcher.
From Podchaser with wisdom.
Our pod is an awesome pod. No, we can do a full outro. Thank you to SKLLY.
Thank you to SKLLY for the use of their song. Everything is going my way. A defunct band. You guys know SKLLY doesn't exist anymore? Maybe it's just we rant until I decide to cut
so
the
sad.
Well, the musicians are still making music, but it was a temp
Oh, we
band.
just do
That's
like
how we
we do
start
a
the
cold
podcast.
close. We do a sort of warm close.
No, we can't. We gotta. Okay, let's do this as part of the podcast. What are we doing to end our show? I do like the prayer, actually, like just praying over our podcast idea so it comes out good.
I'm not leading you in prayer.
I do like that.
Leading you in prayer.
Why not, Olivia? You coward! It doesn't have to be to the Christian God. It doesn't have
we're
to
gonna
be to Jehovah.
We're gonna be praying to some fucked up
Listen,
shit
you can
if you're
pray
gonna
to
have me.
Mammon, the god of money.
Jehovah. I'm not praying to anybody.
You can pray to fucking Jesse Thorne.
I don't know that man.
Then I'll do it. Dear Mammon, please bless us with your gifts.
Okay, yes, I do actually
money
like having to do
our
a prayer.
fledgling podcast.
I do like having
can we pray to like an idea then?
Yeah.
Can we pray to like
You can
a sort
pray-
of like
pray to whatever you
abstract
want.
Dr.
concept?
Manhattan of the Watchmen. You know, you can pray to whoever.
Pray to you could pray to the concept of podcasts themselves.
Sure.
All right. Bring your hands together, boys.
All right,
Bring your hands to
bow your hands, close your eyes, please.
Dear Mothman, thank you for bringing us together. Your big wigs have enveloped us in love and trust and friendship, and your piercing red eyes have forced us into servitude
Hallelujah.
that we serve together and makes our bond stronger. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Amen.
And with that, we'll be back to you with iPod the 5th.
Peace be to Mothman.
Peace be to Mothman.